A bank, a credit card company, a car dealership, and a trading app all want you to make the exact same 5 financial mistakes. The strange part? Most people make them in the exact same order. Same 5 mistakes. Same sequence. Different people, different countries, different incomes. That's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. And patterns that consistent don't happen by accident. They happen by design. Here's the part that should bother you. Every single one of those 5 mistakes makes someone money. Not you. Someone else. Your bank profits when you wait to invest. Stores profit when your spending grows with your income. Trading apps profit when you panic. Lenders profit when you think in monthly payments instead of total cost. And almost everyone profits when you're too anxious to check the actual number. You've been calling these mistakes. They're not mistakes. They're outcomes. Engineered outcomes. And you're the result they were built to produce. So here's the question this video actually answers. If 4 completely unrelated industries all profit from the exact same 5 behaviors in the exact same order, what do they know about human psychology that you don't? Once you see the pattern, you'll never make these mistakes the same way again. Let's start with the first one, the one almost everyone makes without ever noticing it. Mistake 1. You wait. Meet Sarah. At 25, she planned to start investing once she had more money. At 35, she finally started, investing twice as much per month to catch up. She never caught up. Waiting just 10 years cost her more than $300,000 in future wealth, even though she invested double the amount once she finally began. Here's why. Every month your money sits in a low-interest account instead of growing, the bank quietly lends that same money out to someone else, at a much higher rate than they're paying you. Your inaction is their profit margin. Time does more of the work than the amount ever does, and the system has zero incentive to tell you that. There's no warning label on a savings account that says, "This delay is quietly costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars." There should be. There isn't. The fix. Start with an amount so small it feels almost pointless. $10. The amount was never the point. Removing the waiting is. Mistake 2. Your spending grows exactly as fast as your income. Meet Alex. At 28, he got a raise. By 29, he was earning more than he ever had in his life. Yet his bank account hadn't changed at all. A bigger apartment, a nicer car, more takeout, more subscriptions, more, "I deserve this." Nothing about any single purchase felt reckless. That's exactly the problem. The moment your income goes up, you become a more valuable customer. Car dealerships, landlords, credit card companies, they market to who you are now, with your new salary already factored in. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it doesn't feel like a mistake while it's happening. It feels like success. Meanwhile, the savings rate stays exactly where it was 5 years ago, even as the income triples. The fix. The moment your income increases, decide where the increase goes before you decide how your life looks. Save the raise before you ever see it sitting in your checking account. But none of these mistakes are actually the most expensive one. There's a 5th mistake coming up that quietly keeps every other mistake on this list alive. We'll get there in a minute. Mistake 3. You make decisions with your fear, not your strategy. Meet James. The market drops 8% in a week. He doesn't sleep. By Thursday, he sells everything. By the following month, the market has fully recovered. James hasn't. This isn't a willpower problem. It's a design problem. And not his design. Trading apps are built using the same psychological tools as slot machines. Red and green colors. Push notifications the second a portfolio moves. A number that updates constantly, training the brain to check it compulsively. The app doesn't profit when someone makes good long-term decisions. It profits when someone checks daily, reacts emotionally, and trades more often. Every notification that says, "Your portfolio is down 4% today," isn't informing anyone. It's provoking them. And it works. Investors who react emotionally to market drops underperform investors who simply do nothing by a significant margin almost every single year. The fix: turn off the notifications. Decide the rules before emotion shows up, not during. Automate the investing so the decision is already made before fear gets a vote. Mistake 4. You confuse the monthly payment with the actual price. Meet Priya. She buys a car advertised at $450 a month. She never asks the other question. The total price is $35,000 once interest is added in. She never sees that number until months later. This is not an accident of marketing. It is the entire strategy. Nobody advertises total cost, because total cost makes people say no. Monthly payments make people say yes, because the brain processes a small recurring number completely differently than it processes a large lump sum, even when the math underneath is identical or worse. Add enough small yeses together, and an entire income is already spent before it's even earned. This is exactly why people with solid salaries still feel broke every single month. Not because they don't make enough, because their income was pre-claimed by payments, one reasonable sounding yes at a time. The fix: before any purchase above a certain amount, ask for the total cost, including interest, not the monthly cost. If the total number causes hesitation, that hesitation is the truth the monthly number was designed to hide. Mistake 5. You avoid looking at the actual number. This is the one we promised. The quietest mistake and the most expensive one, because it's the mistake that keeps every other mistake on this list alive. Meet David. He hasn't checked his net worth in 3 years. Not because he doesn't care, because looking feels stressful, and not looking feels like relief. Here's what almost nobody says directly. This avoidance isn't a personal failing either. Every other mistake on this list survives specifically because nobody is measuring it. Lifestyle inflation hides inside a bank balance nobody checks. Emotional trading hides behind an app nobody is brave enough to open during a downturn. Waiting hides behind the simple comfort of not thinking about it. The monthly payment trap hides behind a total cost nobody ever calculates. The entire system is quietly built to be easier to ignore than to face. Bank statements are confusing in many cases, not by coincidence. Credit card minimum payments are calculated to feel manageable, while taking decades to actually pay off the balance. Confusion isn't always a bug. For some companies, it's the business model. The fix: pick one number, net worth, savings rate, or total debt. Check it on the same day every month, not to judge anything, just to remove the system's single biggest advantage: nobody looking. Now here's the part that connects everything. These 5 mistakes are not 5 separate failures. They are one single pattern, repeating itself 5 different ways. Every one of them benefits from the exact same thing: inattention. The waiting benefits: a bank earning interest on idle money. The lifestyle inflation benefits the businesses, now targeting a higher income. The emotional trading benefits: a platform engineered to keep someone checking and reacting. The monthly payment thinking benefits sellers who profit the moment total cost disappears from view. And the avoidance benefits every single system above, because none of them work nearly as well on someone who's actually paying attention. Sarah, Alex, James, Priya, David, 5 different people, 5 different mistakes, one identical reason behind every single one of them. Nobody was watching closely enough, and something else was always watching instead. So here's what actually overcomes a financial mistake. Not motivation, not guilt, not a 30-day challenge. Attention. The moment someone starts measuring instead of avoiding, asking for the total instead of the monthly payment, automating instead of reacting, saving before spending instead of after, every single one of these systems loses its advantage. The financial industry doesn't need you to be reckless. It only needs you to stay distracted. And the moment you start paying attention, the entire game changes. Because wealth isn't built by avoiding every mistake. It's built by recognizing them before they happen. Sarah, Alex, James, Priya, and David all made their mistake once. The only real difference between them and someone who never recovers is whether they make it twice. Now you know the pattern. So the next time the urge shows up, to wait, to upgrade, to panic sell, to look only at the monthly payment, or to avoid checking the number, you'll know exactly what's actually happening underneath it. And that single moment of recognition is the real difference between repeating a mistake and finally overcoming it.